Tuesday, November 4th to order. And we have the Bellingham, I can read the whole thing here for you, the Port of Bellingham mission statement to promote sustainable economic development, optimize transportation gateways, and manage publicly owned land and facilities to the benefit of Whatcom County. And I think the people have got the part about how you zoom in here. If they don't, you can zoom. There's two ways that you can be here in person or zoom in or watch on YouTube. Roll call. Commissioner Shepard.
Here.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Briscoe is present. Let the record show all three commissioners are present. Marine Advisory Committee, MAC, in person only, November 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Port Administration Office, Harbor Center Commission Chambers, where we're at presently. The Bellingham International Airport Advisory Committee, the BIAC, in person and Zoom, December 18th, 2025 at 4 p.m. And the phone numbers and Zoom stuff are listed on our website for that meeting.
Commissioner Briscoe, the MAC meeting will be on a different date, still waiting for approval from the MAC president. Will not be on the 11th, which is Veterans Day.
It will be on when?
We're waiting for approval from Paul Burrell, but we're looking for November 18th.
Okay, so disregard the MAC meeting date. That will be given out at a later date to be decided. Public comment. We only have one person signed up, Steve Hansen. Do you want to step to the mic and give us your name and address and let us know what you're thinking?
Hello, my name's Stephen Hansen. I'm 5673 Axton Court, Ferndale, Washington. And so yeah, I'm a lifelong Whatcom County resident, commercial fisherman, and I'm here to comment on the newly instated rates for Squalicum Harbor Drive-Down Dock, or as we call it, Sawtooth. And as of November 1st, the mortgage rates increased from 50 cents a foot to $1 a foot for the first 30 days. And then after that, to $2 a foot, effectively doubling and then quadrupling the current work dock mortgage rates. As a boat owner and someone who's just completed a 1.5 year long, $500,000 project in Bellingham, it's a concerning situation for, I think, the dock itself. And I understand that this is really to combat the seasonal overcrowding that we have at the dock, primarily late spring into the summertime, where everybody's trying to get to the dock to go fishing, and I get it, it's a busy place. You know, the current monthly mortgage rates for my vessel at that dock are about $1,200. So this would effectively be making it about $2,400 for the first 30 days and closer to $5,000 for a month after that. The problem I see with this is that there's no incentive to remain in Bellingham for a large project. The rates themselves effectively become similar to a shipyard out of town, so why not just go to a shipyard instead of remain here in Bellingham and contribute? With my boat project here, I tried very hard to keep everything local. We hired local fabricators, welders, mechanics. We sourced materials and parts from local vendors. So with these price increases across the board, there's no incentive to stay in Bellingham, and it might even become costlier. So to me, this seems to be a bit of a community problem, because the less work being done on the dock is the less work that gets to be spread around the community. So I'll keep this short, and in conclusion, I feel a blanket rate increase was a poor solution, and that there must be a better way to utilize the dock space while maintaining viability periods through less busy times and longer projects on the dock through the winter. And I don't know how to do that other than seasonal increases or potentially having reserve times or less weight, less time on the dock, certain sections of the dock or something like that. But it just seems like that there could be a better solution to that than just a blanket doubling and quadrupling of mortgage rates on the work dock. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anybody else? We don't have anything else. Do we have anybody online for public testimony? No. Anybody else in the room that'd like to say something that didn't sign up? You're feel free to step to the microphone and speak your mind. Okay, we're going to move on then to the consent agenda. Tracy, if you please.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Commissioner Shepherd, any questions?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Commissioner Bell, any questions?
I have none either.
I have none either.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Yes.
Commissioner Bell.
Yes.
Commissioner Briscoe's yes, carries 3-0. Okay, at this point in time, we're going to recess the public meeting and open a public hearing on the 2026 preliminary strategic budget. It's now open. And do we have anybody who wants to speak on that in the public? Anything on the budget anybody wants to speak to? Okay. Commissioner Shepherd, anything you have to say?
Nope.
Commissioner Bell? I have nothing, so I guess we'll close the meeting. Close the public hearing, reopen the public session of our meeting. We have presentations, and I believe Mr. Schroeder is first.
Good evening, Commission. Tyler Schroeder, Economic Development Director, here today to talk through next steps and movement on the Bellingham Cruise Terminal and feasibility. As Commission remembers, we had a Fairhaven Strategy Work Session, charrette, a month ago or so, as we talked through a number of different opportunities in the Fairhaven location. During that discussion, there was a conversation and focus on the Bellingham Cruise Terminal and interest in looking at ways to better utilize that moving forward. Tonight's just a presentation, discussion. We're not looking for action tonight, but we will be moving forward on November 18th for a memorandum of understanding with Global Port Holdings to do some additional cruise facility feasibility work. And I want to walk through that tonight. So Bellingham Cruise Terminal, as we know, has a number of different current tenants: Alaska Marine Highway, San Juan's Cruises, Schooner Zodiac, and many others. In the discussion that we had a month ago, we talked through the 2008 comp plan harbor scheme and the passenger vessels. For many years, there's been Alaska Marine Highway System. In 2008, it talked through a number of different passenger vessels. So Alaska Marine Highway, they also in 2008 talked about cruise vessels, what the benefit from a home port versus a port of call, what the potential opportunities for the Alaska cruise market is, and also discussed small cruise ships, Alaska, Pacific Northwest, think the Gulf and San Juan Islands, and some of the smaller ecotourism opportunities. And we have a number of successful charter boats, excursion, and dinner boats at that location. In 2008, there wasn't a lot of interest in looking forward to utilizing the cruise terminal for expanded cruise vessels or cruise ships. And a lot of that at that time, I think, indicated that the demand was not there. So currently, Alaska Marine Highway is on the year-to-year lease. We've seen a reduction in some of the utilization. We're hopeful that we'll continue that support and stabilize and increase the use of the Alaska Marine Highway system and the ferry in that location. And in the cruise vessels, there seems to be more interest in potential opportunities for regional and Alaska cruise markets. There's increased demand associated with the home ports of Port of Seattle and Port of Vancouver. They've seen growth over the last many years to the point of 8 to 10% in calls from those locations. And we have a number of small cruise ships that have reached out that operate the vessels themselves to see whether or not there's an opportunity to locate Bellingham as a port of call, and we want to take a look into more opportunities in that situation. Just thinking about Fairhaven and Bellingham itself and the strategic location between Seattle and Vancouver, recognizing the direct airport and infrastructure access as well as the train station, acknowledging the existing infrastructure that we have in Fairhaven. There's capacity there and ways to be able to do shared use development, and but would need improvements to be able to call vessels to be able to locate into Alaska in the greater Salish Sea area. Acknowledging the facility, when constructed, had some improvements, transportation improvements, and has capacity. But any additional work moving forward would really need to be integrated with the character and the scale of the Fairhaven neighborhood. And probably most importantly in this conversation, as we think about how to utilize the cruise terminal in more ways, would be just the additional coordination with the City of Bellingham, with Fairhaven Neighborhood Association, with the businesses in Fairhaven, and with Lummi Nation, recognizing the tribal treaty rights in this area. And if we do expand and utilize the cruise terminal for additional cruise operations, that coordination is going to be vital for this conversation. And, but, along with the coordination is keeping the environmental stewardship at front and center as we look towards sustainable economic development, which is a part of our mission. And also the economic benefits associated with additional utilization of the cruise terminal could be port revenue, job growth, infrastructure investments, really small business spending throughout the community, increased tourism, and growth in the local tax base. But really what we wanted to do is, as staff, is come back to the commission to acknowledge that there is interest in doing a feasibility study to really understand and assess the market demand, understand what the infrastructure is at the cruise terminal, what type of improvements would be needed to accomplish additional vessels calling the location, and then understand the capital improvement costs that are associated with that. For the last few months, we've been discussing with Global Port Holdings. They are a company that is interested in signing a memorandum of understanding to do that initial feasibility study and work that's associated with it. Global Port Holdings is an expert in the cruise terminal industry. So they're not a specific cruise vessel operation company. They operate a number of different cruise terminals throughout the world. And the feasibility study will be able to provide information on the cruise market demand and potential routes, discuss and understand how the Bellingham Cruise Terminal could be used as a home port instead of just a port of call along the way, indicate interest from the industry to see if there really is any reality of utilizing Bellingham as that home port, and then would have access to the engineering information and do a site visit, a number of site visits on the cruise terminal to understand the infrastructure upgrades that would be needed. Through this conversation, there would be a discussion on the size of vessels that could be accommodated. We are interested in a small to mid-size, which is under consideration, and the necessary agreements during that time frame on management and operations during these discussions. So on November 18th, next commission meeting, there will be a MOU for commission to agree that it's worth the time to do this initial feasibility. No decisions have been made, but recognizing the interest from Global Port Holdings and taking the time within a year's time frame to take additional community and stakeholder input, understand what the actual process would be after this feasibility analysis to go through the environmental and permitting requirements, if that is chosen to do. And, I think it's important to also acknowledge that the idea and concepts would be for the cruise terminal to be a home port. So as we walk through that, it's not just a stop along the route. It would be seasonal in nature. From May till September, There'd be ability to continue to co-locate the maritime industry in this location, in the Fairhaven location. And there could be opportunities to be able to continue to use the, whatever investments are associated with it for the meetings and events during the rest of the year associated with it, and even during the time, because the frequency would likely only be a few times a week. But again, all of this information is going to be discussed during the feasibility study to really understand what is of interest to the Port Commission and what is of interest to the market of these facilities. Home ports, you know, they really do provide increased airport utilization. So there's a lot of demand for visitors to come to our community through Bellingham International Airport, through other areas. There's a number of provisioning and supply chain opportunities if there is an increase in utilization, and that would help support some of the industries and businesses in our location. And there would be an increase in hospitality and hotel stays associated with the tourism that's associated with it. You know, the Port of Seattle and Vancouver, BC have seen record years in the last few years. And when you look into their reports, they just issued their last end of the year report on cruise operations. It's about $569 spend per party that goes through a cruise terminal facility as a home port. There's an increase in the ILWU wages and spends that would be help facilitate those cruise terminals. The ask today is just to understand the interest of the Port Commission on taking a step to do feasibility. And on November 18th, we'll come back with an MOU in which we would be working with Global Port Holdings to do this 12-month period on feasibility, to understand exactly or understand some of the additional information for the commission to be able to take the next step and move forward if that's chosen at that time.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who's going to bear the cost of the feasibility study?
So the MOU and the interest of the company is to be able to pay for the initial feasibility study.
Okay. Also, the infrastructure that would be needed, is there a knowledge at this time of how much they would take care of and how much would be a burden on us?
That would be a part of the discussion.
Okay.
Once it's disclosed and we understand the infrastructure that we currently have, once we understand the market demand and if and how large the vessels that would be calling, we would have a better understanding to say what the infrastructure costs that are associated with it. But Global Port Holdings does have and operates 32 different cruise terminal throughout the world, Prince Rupert included. And so if any decision is made to move forward, that could be from a Port Commission to go out for an RFP or continue to work with the company. And those discussions on infrastructure costs would be a part of those negotiations.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shepard?
Thanks, Tyler. Anything in the MOU that's going to obligate us or tie our hands to working with this group in the future, or tell us more about how that part of the MOU would be structured?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've specifically indicated that this would be a 12 to 15-month period to do feasibility. We've acknowledged that we will provide all of the information that we have on our records of the facilities that are associated with it. But we've written specific language that indicates that this work in the 12-month period does not obligate the port or the Port Commission to move forward with GPH. It's really a timeline to be able to understand what the feasibility is, provide that information back to the Port Commission, back to the community to make a future decision.
Okay. Well, I think, you know, we already have what I think is a pretty robust process for reviewing cargo. And I feel like this is fairly in line with that same process we already have. You know, I think we would not be doing our job if we didn't fully investigate this opportunity. I think our job is not to make a decision up front and like jump at every shiny object that's dangled in front of us. But I think our job is to fully review opportunities for economic development for our community. And as long as we are being upfront with some of the, conversation points that we're expecting, and I think you already addressed them, traffic impacts to the Fairhaven Business District, environmental impacts, and impacts for our tribal partners. We've been clear about what we know are some of the parameters of this discussion. Of course, we're certainly going to talk about some of the opportunities and potential benefits as well. But as long as that's upfront in the conversation, I think this is the right direction to go with fully investigating this opportunity.
Yeah, we, Matt Kress, the business development manager, and have had a couple of different conversations with Global Port Holdings, acknowledging that community process, acknowledging that interest and understanding that fits within what we believe is the community's vision and the Port Commission's vision, and all those things you've indicated, Commissioner Shepherd. We've had conversations with them. And just recognizing that, this is just a start of a conversation, a start of investigation to, is there a market? What type of infrastructure is needed? Can that be accomplished? And let's hear the community feedback that's associated with the right decisions, but let's do that with information that we can all be informed about the benefits, the negatives, impacts that are associated with it, so that the right decision's made to move forward or not.
Okay. Do we know if we have sufficient shore power at the terminal to host a ship of this type?
I don't know the answer. We have talked about it, but I don't know the answer.
I mean, I think that's part of the feasibility study.
Correct.
And
Part of
part
the
of the
study,
infrastructure,
yeah.
examining the infrastructure.
I expect modern cruise terminals are looking for shore power, and that would
Correct.
be an expectation that, yeah, I think that would be an expectation within the community as well.
We've
would
talked
be
about
doing
that
this.
specifically.
Okay.
Yep. And it's both the terminal itself, but then also, the power that's supplied to the terminal.
Yeah.
But when you look at the Port of Seattle and Vancouver and in their end of the year reports, those types of credible environmental have been made improvements, both at those facilities. There's even one cruise ship that's looking to convert to LNG. So all of that in this kind of green marine corridor is what I believe our community will be interested in. I also believe that the market is adapting to that and has those same goals.
Okay. Yeah, well, last comment for now is, I just want to reiterate, I think there is a big difference between being a port of call and being a home port. It's, I think, a much different experience, probably for the community, and the economic opportunity would also be quite different and quite a bit better, being that home port. So I like that that's part of the conversation here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think we also have to just recognize who Bellingham is in the community and what we can provide. And it won't be anywhere near the scale of Seattle or Vancouver, but it probably has some economic value and benefit that fits within the community's interest, and that could be a few times a week scheduled without an investment that goes associated with it. And we'll just continue those conversations.
No, I lied that I didn't have any more. One more, Alaska Ferry, can we accommodate the existing, arrangements we have with the Alaska Ferry with a expanded cruise operation?
Yes, that's an absolute priority in these conversations.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Bell?
So were you really asking me if I was in favor of moving this forward? As though my opinion were somewhat, oh, hell yeah. I look forward to this, and I also look forward to the fact that you've got somebody willing to spend their money. That to me indicates a commitment to the area, so they've already done some research, and that's a good sign. So I look forward to the feasibility study. Are we going to have a hand in designing some of those feasibility questions so that we get the answers that we need as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, other than that, I'd say, let's go. This, not to make a joke about BLI coming in a little bit late with the federal shutdown, or to point that out, but this is going to do nothing but enhance air traffic at the airport, right? That's exactly what we want. So, yes, I'm in favor. Thank you.
And I'm a head nod as well.
Well, we'll come back on November 18th, and if commission has any other questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tyler.
Welcome, Gage.
Okay, so our next presentation of the Chuckanut Bay Distillery. Sarah?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Sarah Huckabee, Real Estate Property Manager. I'm here today to present on a license with Chuckanut Bay Distillery for the right to operate a bar and spirit tasting facility at the Portal Container Village. This afternoon, I am only presenting on the terms of the license, not bringing forward the license for commission consideration yet, but the intention is to bring that license forward for commission consideration at the next scheduled public meeting on November 18th. So this license is nearly 2 years in the making, so I know I speak for both real estate and the Chuckanut Bay Distillery team when I say we're very excited to see this take shape. I am actually joined by 3 out of the 4 members of Chuckanut Bay Distillery's ownership team. Behind me, I have their founders, Matt Howell, Kelly Andrews, and their CFO, Jean Marone. Thank you for being here. It's great to have your support in the room. So before I get to the license, I want to tell you a little bit about Chuckanut Bay Distillery. They were founded in 2011 with the first sale of their spirits in 2013. Currently, they operate out of an 18,000 square foot historic building on Cornwall Avenue. From that facility, they operate a large-scale whiskey production facility, tasting room, full-service bar and restaurant, and large ballroom accommodating over 300 guests. This year, also after much development and planning, they opened a new rooftop bar, which has garnered a lot of local attention as the only rooftop bar in Bellingham. They're also the recipient of several distinguished awards. This year, they were awarded the Washington State Distillery of the Year by the New York International Spirits Competition, Best All-Around Restaurant and Wedding Venue by the Bellingham Herald's Cascade Best, and Best Distillery by Bellingham Alive's Best of the Northwest, and that was both this year and the last year. So a location at the Portal Container Village would allow them to expand on the operations they currently have at Cornwall Avenue, and mainly their vision for the rooftop bar, and then also share their locally crafted spirits with new audiences and communities. Currently, they employ, for their location at Cornwall Avenue, 35 to 40 employees. With a location at the Portal, this would offer new cross-training opportunities for their existing employees, and then potentially open up positions for up to 5 new employees. So last year, capital funding was requested and approved by the commission to construct foundations and utility stub-out connections to accommodate new modified containers at the Portal Container Village. Provided this license receives your approval, the port would move forward with utilizing some of those funds to build out the foundations and utilities for their 2 8-foot by 20-foot modified containers. The bar and spirit tasting facility license covers these intentions, and then also stipulates that approval from the port on the design of their modified containers is required, as it would be required for any new improvements to their license area prior to proceeding with construction. Building and utility permits have been already obtained by the port for construction of these foundations and utility stub-out connections. So what you see on the slide here is an aerial of the Portal Container Village showing where the proposed license area is by way of that big red arrow. And then the demarcation of their actual proposed license area boundary is represented through that red outlined shape. So this license area provides sufficient space for their 2 modified containers, as well as a rooftop bar that goes over their 2 modified containers, and an outdoor seating area. So shifting focus to the actual license, the license would authorize Chuckanut Bay Distillery to operate a bar and spirit tasting facility within their license area, commencing on the first day of the month following issuance of a certificate of occupancy or a temporary certificate of occupancy, but no later than April 1 of 2026. Under their authorized use, they would be permitted the sale of spirits, spirit tastings, other alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, small bites, and merchandise. As their license, their term is through December 31 of 2027, with a two-year renewal option and a one-year renewal option. So with their renewal options, they're looking at a final termination date of December 31, 2032. This final termination date is consistent with all the other container agreements at the portal aside from Colson Trackside. So as their license fee, they would be expected to pay a concession fee, base license fee, and a utility reimbursement fee. Their concession fee, which is the main component of rent, is 3% of their overall gross receipts from all sources on the license area. No minimum or maximum cap on that 3% concession fee. In addition to that concession fee, they're paying their annual base license fee of $2,800. What that translates to is $300 a month reduced to $100 a month for the months of November through February, should they elect to suspend their sales during that time, which most portal businesses do in the off-season. As financial security, we would collect 33% of that base license fee. I should also mention that inclusion of that concession fee, as well as the reduction of the base license fee period, is also provisions that are included in the other container leases and licenses. So that concludes my presentation. Again, I'll just extend the reminder that this is not being brought forth for commission consideration today, but at the next public meeting on the 18th. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions. I want to invite the Chuckanut Bay Distillery team to chime in if they'd like to say anything or answer any questions you have for them as well.
Give me a couple minutes to capture my thoughts. I've got a couple things I want
Mr. Shepherd.
to form.
Thank you, Sarah. Nice presentation. The container, is that the responsibility for the 2 containers? Would that be Chucknut's responsibility to furnish and pay for delivery and construction of those items?
Yes, they would be bringing their own modified containers and doing the construction of everything outside of the foundations and utility stub-out connections. That's all we're providing in addition to the area for their outdoor seating.
Okay, great. And I don't know if I can put you guys on the spot. Any thoughts on what they're gonna look like compared to what we already have in the container village? You're welcome to come up to the mic and if you want to share anything.
Okay. Yeah, hi, Matt Howell. Yeah, we're really excited about it. Yeah, a lot of that's already done, actually. We're kind of finalizing things right now in terms of all the design. The dream is to get people inside the containers. Whereas right now, the containers we have, you go up and you're like ordering at a window, right? But with ours, we're gonna have 2 stacked right together, so there's gonna be seating area inside, and then pardon me, and then a bar where you can actually like belly up to the bar, like inside from one container to the other. Yeah, so yeah, we're very, very excited about that. We'll kind of be bringing a lot of our aesthetic that we have at our facility as well, because we have, it's the upshot of doing a big building like that, you have a lot of leftover materials.
Yeah.
So we'll be, bringing a touch of our, we call it steampunk chic, feel down to the containers. And, and then the other thing we're really excited about, kind of dialing in with structural engineering right now, but with the roof deck, we're actually gonna have opportunity, we'll be kind of balloon framing, all the support posts, so the structure will not be at all reliant on the containers. But the thing that we're really excited about is, it's nice to be outside, but you get a nice cold martini or something like that, and you want to be outside, but you don't want to be in direct sun. So we're going to actually have those posts go further up, about 9 foot above the roof deck, so that and then do sunscreens. So you'll be up to be able to see everything, be outside, but not be in direct sunlight. So that's a lot of the stuff that we're working on.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I love the way the downtown facility looks, so I'm sure you'll carry that same look and feel to this, and that will be a real nice addition. The portal continues to just be a real hot spot in the summer. People really enjoy it, and it continues to fulfill this interest that we had as activating the space and getting people down there and making sure that it was a vibrant, well-used, and well-loved part of our community. And I think it just keeps growing, so it's neat to see.
It is. I love what you guys have done down there, and the events that are going on, the digesters in the middle, and all the beautiful brick buildings around. I think we're just excited to be part of it, the opportunity to be part of it.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks.
Commissioner Bell.
And nothing better than a distillery next to a putt-putt golf course. Like, harkens me back to my youth. Not sure I remember ever getting to the putt-putt course from the distillery, but that's what that looked like. My comments are general, and I just want to make it clear that this is not about the design. It's not about you as operators. I love your facility downtown. There's nothing more spectacular in Bellingham than what I've seen there, especially that rooftop. But this is really about the port, and I think it's for us to discuss at some level. We're in the middle of planning for that downtown waterfront area, and I'm reluctant to say yes to putting more roots down when we haven't finished the visioning process for the downtown waterfront area. And I don't think I'm saying this for the first time, but you guys are going to put a spectacular something down there. But I do think it's our desire at the port to make sure that we utilize this area year-round and that we come at it with a vision. And I think I've said this before, I've seen some really spectacular container villages. And quite frankly, your design is one of the first ones that I've seen that will actually incorporate a lot of the bigger, longer-term container concepts. But I do think it might be premature if we are going to go out and we are going to seek input about what the waterfront area should look like going forward. I understand that it is a 5-year lease and that there are provisions to do some changes, but what I would hate to do is commit to something and we haven't finished our process. And I think we've all talked about as a commission that this may change and that this was temporary. So what does this look like? What does a transition from this to something else look like? How long is that process going to be? Who are we going to engage in that? I think those are all discussions that need to be had. And so quite frankly, I think it's a little premature. I also think we are waiting for people to come to us rather than having a vision or a design for the area that we have crafted as a community, as a city, as a port, for the area, and what kind of vendors do we want, and how do we make this useful year-round. I think that benefits everybody in the city. So I do have a reluctance around this. Just for you guys' input. I've seen some spectacular container villages around the world, and they can be done really well. And if it's our intent to have a container village, then it should be done in that vein and not one at a time. It should be a coordinated vision. It should be all coordinated. It should be planned. And so I'm reluctant to say yes until we've at least been through that process. Nothing on you. Love your place, right? I think you'd be a bang-up job, and I think you'd get a ton of business. I just think there's some unfinished business here at the port that needs to be done to make this a year-round facility.
And I will throw out there that we were advised not to expand beyond our current commitments. This is the only one.
Yeah, and as long as we know that we're on a 5-year time frame, but we don't know that. Right, so we're now asking to be committing to a 5-year lease to coincide with all the others. Are they all gonna expire at the end of that, and what's our plan? So not having that vision in my sight, I have a difficult time putting more roots down.
Well, I disagree. I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Bell, I really do, but in my term and several terms here at the port, government moves very slow. Shit happens slow. I mean, that's just the way it is. I think in 5 years, we'll be lucky if we still got it figured out and a lot happening there. I mean, we don't know what the economy's gonna do here in the short term. We could get a downturn, things can go, and then we're done. I think it's a great idea. I don't see it going anywhere outside of that frame that's already there. So we have ground outside of that frame. We have lots of ground. I think everyone down there knows that this isn't something that's gonna be there forever. Or it may be. We don't know. We don't know. We don't have an answer either way. I don't have a vision either way of what's gonna happen in that particular area. I do know if this commission was decided to tell them they all gotta leave, we'd probably get hung. That's what I do know. I mean, it's a very popular place down there, so I don't have a problem. I won't have a problem with these folks coming and doing it. I think their operation is obviously a very good one. Very good business people. I would be interested in seeing a design before I had to vote, though. I would like to see a sketch, something, so, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not getting the whole vision, and if I could have that, I would certainly like to see it before I vote. And as Commissioner Bell said, we really don't know what we're doing down there. We're trying to figure that out. We're gonna be doing our best to figure that out here in the future. I mean, getting things done takes a long time, and I don't see anything major happening there inside of 2.5 years. I really don't. I mean, we've got a lot of ground there. We gotta find people to come. People have to have the money. Things gotta change in our economy for people to make big investments. I mean, very good example is what's happening with our hotel there. I mean, it's went from this to this, and I'm not happy about that. So for other things to happen, I think our economy's gonna have to change a lot, and money investors are gonna have to do some rethinking to get things going down there. I don't see that happening very, very quickly. So refresh me. They'd be the longest lease down there at 5 years at this point in time?
No, Colson Trackside holds the longest lease.
Okay, and
They
that,
have an additional 5-year renewal option.
and when would that end compared to when they released their 5-year release? I'm trying to get, is there a timing there where this would all end if it needed to at about the same time?
So with the exception of Colson Trackside, all of the portal container leases co-terminate on December 31st, 2032. Colson Trackside has an additional 5-year renewal option on top of that. So their lease actually terminates in May of 2037.
Yeah, and so based,
And that footprint ends just outside the golf course there, right? That we're talking about ground-wise?
this one, yeah.
Well, but I mean, all of what we're utilizing there, how long is the lease on the golf course?
That's on an annual license.
That's
So
on
we were,
annual.
yeah, we
So-
write up a new one every year.
So they're basically, these folks would be at the outer edge of the longer terminal lease.
Yeah, and Sarah's done a good job, I think, of aligning those leases based on this very discussion that the commission has been having over the last few months. And I think Commissioner Bell, you know, you've mentioned a few times over that we have some planning to do, and I think you're absolutely right. We do have some planning to do and have tried to align these leases with activation while that planning happens so that we can begin to talk about absorption rate and economy and all of that sort of kind of planning. So I think this timing lines up, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I very much expect that planning is gonna, for thinking about the portal, we're gonna really be thinking seriously about how do we make year-round opportunities for use down there. We know it's popular, and we know it's a clear limitation that it closes.
Just as soon as we build a dome.
Yeah, and so, we've got the alcohol building with its large annex, which opens right onto that kind of south section of the pump track and right next to the portal. I've always thought that's a natural opportunity for a year-round interior space. And so we've got some options, and I think it's part of our staff's planning process that we're engaged in. And it's gonna, the more investment and use we see down there just drives the rationale for that year-round expansion opportunity.
And Commission, we will be coming forward to Commission with a planning calendar in the next meeting or December's meeting that shows these planning sessions. And currently, we're proposing a planning session, and I've spoken with Mayor Lund for February 24 and 26 for the downtown waterfront planning session, where we'll be talking more about all of this.
Very good.
I have two quick rebuttals. And
How did I know that was coming?
the first one is, if you think this is hard to get rid of now, wait till you put something like what they're proposing down there. They'll come at me with pitchforks,
Who says we ever
right?
want to get rid of it?
Because that's gonna be amazing. That's my point. If you're gonna put it down there, and I'm gonna speak to the CFO for a moment, you give me a 5-year option or a couple of 1 years, the investment I make in that opportunity is gonna be far different from one if I know that I've got an opportunity to be there for, or in perpetuity, or for a 10 or 15 year. So the investment I make in that site is gonna be significantly different based on the lease that we can give them. If we can only give them a 5-year lease, they're gonna put down there an investment that will pay off in that 5-year basis. CFO, you can shake your head, yes or no, either way. I'm trying to speak your language that you. So I wanna make sure that when you say we're gonna put an investment down there, I want it to be the right investment. I wanna do this well, and I wanna do it long-term. So I really want us to have our act together. I want to know where the parking is going to go. I want to know if we're going to relocate some of these businesses, where are they going to go? We throw out a bunch of what-ifs, whereases, and maybes. That's not good enough for me, because at some point, we're going to be asking them to put real money on the ground. And if we're going to have them down there, which I really, really want you down there, I want it to be for a while. I don't want it necessarily to be on a short-term
Confused me
basis.
with that. Because just a second ago, you just said, we don't know what we're doing down there, and it may all need to go away.
It may.
So where are you at?
So if this is a part-time opportunity where you're not operational for 4 months out of the year, we know that that's something we don't want long-term. But if we have an opportunity to create something where they can be down there in a 12-month operation, it's a whole different investment level. It's a whole different look. So we know that we're putting this on a 5-year lease because we know it's going to change, right? So what is it going to change to? We don't know that yet. And we're going to be looking for that. So my question back is, let's look at this as a business person would and say, if you're happy with a 5-year lease and whatever investment you're going to put down there, and we're just going to yank it out from you in 5 years to go some other direction, that's one thing, but we should have that conversation. The second part is what if we have a great plan? You guys can be down there for a long period of time. You can build something similar to what you have downtown, and it becomes iconic, right? That's the difference.
Well, explain that part to me, because if we build something iconic that's down there, we're gonna go away from the containers.
We might.
Well, that's the container village. There's a reason it's a container village, because it's movable.
It was temporary, correct.
It
Maybe
still is temporary.
Maybe it won't be.
We don't know.
That's correct.
So why would we want anybody to invest in something that's permanent when we don't know it is? So I'm really confused.
Well, because my rebuttal is, you put something like this down there, that's gonna be even harder, right?
It'll be
That's
whatever it is, but we can't put something permanent there because it's a temporary area.
correct. I just wanna,
And they're willing to put something temporary there.
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Please come forward to the mic and speak if you would,
or
please.
grab me for coffee someday this week.
No, I would just say, we go into this with eyes wide open, and we understand it's a 5-year term, and we would take that risk. If there is the decision that something different is going to happen, then that's for us we knew about it, and we'll deal with that. We would love to be there. We would certainly try to bring that same aesthetic that we have downtown to here. And should it evolve into something more permanent, you know, we would be the type of entity that would want to invest in becoming a more permanent tenant. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate and respect where you're coming from. I hope that you'll view it as our problem and not yours. You know, if we can convince the CFO that a 5-year term is viable and with no expectation of anything beyond that, then that's great.
It's as much yours as ours.
Yeah.
We need to have a vision, and we need to have the pressure on us to take a look at this area.
Right.
And what it's going to be in the future.
Sure.
So we have some pressure on us as well.
Absolutely.
As well as the pump track.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine the number of moms are going to be screaming at us if we
absolutely.
take that away,
Yeah.
right?
I guess the only other thing I would add is that we've been in this discussion already for 2 years. And I'm concerned that if we forestall this decision longer, the opportunity may pass us by completely. So,
Would this be planned for being open for this coming year, operation?
yeah, it would
So
be in
this-
2026.
2026, we open generally around April or May.
Yeah, the last week of April, first week of May.
I would love to sit down with you and talk about that. I quit drinking a while back, so it's going to have to be over coffee, but let's do,
Absolutely.
you're not going to ply me with liquor.
Right.
No, so, I mean, as long as everybody understands where they're at in this deal, I think we're good. I don't foresee us moving at lightning speed to develop down there. We certainly would like that, don't get me wrong. But I think the things that are going on in the world today and in the economy today, I think they're gonna move a little slower pace than we would like them to. So I'm comfortable with what you're presenting. I always like to see a drawing of something before it goes there.
Matt has put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, because you're stepping above what's been done there now, and I'd certainly like to at least have a peek at what you're thinking.
And I've seen your place downtown. There is nothing like it.
Thank you
Nothing
very much.
like it.
Yeah,
It
no,
is
we
top
appreciate
drawer.
it.
Yeah.
We
This
couldn't
is
be
no
more
reflection
excited
on
to be
you.
part of this. So, I mean, I think this has really turned into something special, and we'd love to be there. So,
So commission will bring it forward for action next commission meeting.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yep.
And if I could extend just a quick clarification, because I don't want anybody walking away thinking that it's just a 5-year term. It's 5 years in renewal options, but they have from April 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2027 as that initial term. So it gives them 7 seasons.
Great.
So, anyways,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
Sarah.
much.
Great job.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. We're to end of the meeting, public comment. Oh, we're not?
One more.
Well,
Not quite, Commissioner.
oh yeah, darn, I thought we could get away with that one.
Mike Hogan, Public Affairs Administrator.
I tried, you gotta give me an attaboy for trying.
Well, now this is premature, right?
Yeah, I
We,
think so.
a little bit, but there's a timeline associated, so we're trying to be less reactionary.
Oh, I see.
But when is,
Good evening, Commissioners. Well, first of all, yes, this may seem a little bit premature, but I think we'll explain that there's some timelines that we need to think about and want for both you to be aware and for the public to be aware. So first of all, happy Election Day, and congratulations and thank you to everybody that's running for office or voted today. In the words of the immortal Dr. Martin Luther King, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. So, today's election is a consequential one for the Port of Bellingham. As you know, back in July, the Port passed Resolution 1422, which appears on the ballot for folks that voted today, and that's to increase the number of commissioners from 3 to 5, each assigned to one of 5 newly drawn separate districts. So if this gets approved, of course, there'll be 2 new commissioners that get voted on in November 2026. And what we're here to talk mostly about today is that the Port must adopt and submit a redistricting plan to the Whatcom County Auditor no later than January 1st, 2026. And there's some specific public notice requirements and a process that's required through the RCWs that creates kind of a tight timeline. And so that's why we're here talking about that. So as far as the public notice requirements, it requires RCW 531620 requires public notification in the newspaper general circulation at least twice. The first notice no less than 15 nor more than 20 days prior to adoption, and a public hearing within 10 days of publishing the draft plan and at least 7 days before the plan is adopted. And then the plan needs to get adopted in a public meeting attended by all commissioners. So when we do the math, when we look at that, in November, right now, the Port needs to verify the county districts. We anticipate the 5 Port districts would be very similar. We would need to balance those districts if necessary. Unfortunately, there's not a RCW that allows us just to adopt the county districts. December 1st, we would publish, if it's approved, we'd do our first public notice and publish the draft plan of the districts. December 8th, we'd have the second public notice. December 9th, a public hearing. And then at the December 16th commission meeting, attended by all 3 commissioners, we would adopt the redistricting plan so that by January 1st, we could submit it to the Whatcom County Auditor.
Just a second, Mike, I need to interrupt. The 9th of December, are you saying we're gonna have a special meeting for this as a commission?
We would do a public hearing. So that one, we would notice that, we would have a public, so we'd publish our draft plan within the timeframes of the RCWs, and then we'd have a public hearing. You commissioners could video into that one, but we would, that would be an opportunity for the public to comment on that draft plan or those, the new district boundaries.
So we are gonna have a special meeting where we have to attend.
That would be the next commission meeting on December 16th, where the commission, if it gets approved, would adopt the new redistricting boundaries.
I guess what I'm missing is who's gonna run the public hearing?
That would be, I would assume it would be the Port Commission president.
Wouldn't that be a special meeting?
Yes, it would be a special meeting.
Okay, that was my
I think the
question.
question that Mike might
So these
be,
kind of things we need to know a little in advance, because people have calendars being made up, and we're starting special meetings, it's a little outside the box not to know about it.
Exactly.
That's why this isn't premature to have this discussion.
So Commissioner, that's why we wanted to get this in front of you and the public. And again, this is our proposed redistricting schedule. There's a little bit of flexibility as you see the RCW requirements, not a ton. But we would, the schedule would be pretty close to this.
Follow my train of thought on this. You said there's no RCW that says we can just adopt the county districts, correct?
Correct.
So we adopt the districts that they may exactly line up with the county districts, but we have to go through a separate process.
Correct.
Is there anything that would prohibit us from then, when the county redistricts, the next time they redistrict, from joining that process and so we're not duplicating the effort?
Yeah, no,
Going forward.
There are, I believe it's 300,000 population, over 300,000 ports and counties can partner together on districts, but for our county, we're not allowed to do that. So it's a pretty easy process. We have a consultant on board to verify that, the county district boundaries, but the port does need to go through that process.
How close are we to the 300,000? I thought we were over.
220,000, somewhere around there.
I just happened to look this up today because I knew you guys would ask. According to the 2024 information, we're at 234,954 people.
And are we not able to have the public hearing on the 16th?
No, so the public hearing, the RCW requires within 10 days of publishing the draft plan and at least 7 days before the plan is adopted.
Okay. Okay. But for the public hearing, do all commissioners have to be present?
I don't believe so. I think we just need to open the public hearing.
Yeah, if I can jump in, all commissioners don't need to be present. It would be a special meeting, but just like any other meeting, if you have a quorum of 2 commissioners, whether you're present in person or present via electronic means, then that hearing can go forward.
Okay. All right.
So, and we will work with the commission to finalize the dates and times and publish that both on our website and through the notification. But this roughly, given the requirements in the RCWs, it's a fairly tight time frame.
And if this doesn't pass, it's all a moot point, right?
All a moot point, correct. So just to give a little bit of background on what the 5 new port districts would look like if it was passed, the RCWs requires equal in population as possible, as compact as possible, geographically contiguous. Population data does not favor, disfavor racial group or political party, and we preserve natural boundaries and communities of mutual interest. And then just to give a preview, if voters do approve the commission expansion and we go from 3 to 5, 2 new commissioners would be elected in 2026 from districts 4 and 5, the newly created districts. There'd be a primary August 4th, 2026. If needed, November 3rd, there'd be a general election. The candidate with the most votes would serve a 3-year term, and the candidate with the second most votes would serve a 1-year term. So those commission election cycles would coincide with your current election cycles, if that makes sense.
So let's talk about the practicality of this, because if it does, you're saying 4 and 5. What about 1? Because
So
would you be in the 1?
So this would be a special election for the 2, if the voters pass it. So we'd go from 3 to 5. So this would be a special election.
To establish 4 and 5 without boundaries?
No, 4 and 5 would have boundaries. So
I'm further confused because we're in the same district if we redistrict according to the current.
So there is a provision in the RCWs through the redistricting, if the boundaries are verified through the process, where you draw lots.
And then what?
Highly complaint. Well, the winner, I guess, would stay in their current district, and the loser would go to the new district.
To either 4 or 5?
And how's that
So-
work if you
sorry.
don't reside there?
And what about 1?
So the existing commissioners would be districts 1 through 3. 4 and 5 would be the new districts. If you've got, say, 2 commissioners who currently reside in, can you go back to that figure? One of those new districts, say one of the county districts, then those 2 commissioners would draw lots to see who represents that district and who is in essentially the other district, which is silly anyway because it's a countywide election, right? You're all elected at large. And that's who you would represent for.
Define the other district.
So let's say it goes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And let's just say that you and Commissioner Shepard were in the same district. Right. Hypothetically. And then you would draw lots, and whoever gets whatever we decide, flip a coin, however we do it, that person, if the both of you actually reside in new Commission District 1, and say you draw the short straw and that's the winner, you stay as District 1, and then Commissioner Shepard would be 3 or whatever the non-represented one is.
And I'm the same district, my number just changes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would represent a district I don't live in
And through the end of your term.
through the end of my term.
Yeah.
And then it would adjust one. This happened with the county council.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
When they redistricted, and it took a couple years to smooth itself out, but nobody had to,
Yeah.
move.
No one moves.
No one had to move.
But let's.
Maybe one of those container villages. Can I reside at the container village?
No, it's not even
Nothing wrong
that. It's
with
not even that. What you've identified though is 4 and 5, right? So if we do follow the county districts, 4 and 5 would be towards the county, correct? But there would also be no one representing District 1 under the county district. So you would actually have 3 districts with no representation at that point, not just 4 and 5, because we would reside in the same district, District 2.
Right, but so that's why you have to redistrict before January 1, and then through 2026, you still have your districts, not that it matters because you represent the entire port. And so then once you have that election in November of 2026 for 4 and 5, they serve immediately. And so it's kind of a funky term for them as well, rather than waiting until
I'm
January.
confused about who takes 1.
We'd have to wait and see.
Smokey the Bear.
And Commissioner, I'm confused
What
how
am
the
I-
drawing of lots actually happens, but that's what it says in the RCW, so.
Yeah, I'm just still confused by 4 and 5, right? Because 1 is not going to be represented either. Because you'll have 1 in District 3, which will be
District
Commissioner-
5.
Commissioner Briscoe. And then you'll have Michael and I in District 2, or Carly, if Carly wins, right? You'll have Carly, Michael in District 2, which would leave 3 unrepresented districts, 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, but they're only unrepresented at a voting time. We represent the whole thing.
Well, I get that. I'm just trying to figure out who gets assigned to what. Because then, if he's gonna take a district, like, it's very different if I do it than I know right now I would represent the county the way I do now, right? I would probably pick a 4 and a 5, whereas Michael would probably represent a District 1, right?
What do you mean you'd pick a 4 and a 5? I'm not
Well,
following.
where would I be assigned? If I drew the short straw,
I know. It would be, if he's 1 and he's 3, you'd be 2.
Well,
4 and
nothing-
5 are the 2 new ones.
Nothing changes until the election, correct?
Right.
1.
You're right, you're still representing the
Up
entire
until
port
the
district.
election in November,
It
we
real-
represent the same thing we are now.
Be 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Nothing changes till the election.
So the numbers may not they will not match up with the county numbers?
Well, no, he won't live in 1 either.
Are you moving?
Nobody lives in 1.
I'm gonna go live at the
But
container
what,
village.
I want to get to what your actual concern is. If it's just
Are you guys
saying,
getting this, or am I the only one? Nobody lives in 1.
that's okay, because all of you live in the county.
Yeah, because you live in the
And none of it matters until that election, and everything changes and everybody's represented.
Right.
So what if I pick 4 and then we go elect 4 and 5?
The existing commissioners go to 1, 2, or 3.
1, 2, or 3?
1, 2, or 3. You guys are all going to be what, or whoever's in that spot, 1, 2, and 3.
New ones are 4 and 5.
You don't get to pick your number. That's why they
No,
won't
no, it's
align.
not. Four-
That's why they won't align with the
five,
county
'cause I'm
numbers.
five.
Now I'm clear. Now I'm clear.
So we
All right, that was fun.
we understand this is a confusing process, so we'll continue to provide updates at www.portofbellingham.com/redistricting and www.portofbellingham.com/commission expansion as we move through this process. And we'll also have updates to the Port Commission and on our social media, on our website, et cetera. So
Can I make a suggestion? Next time, maybe if we could hear how it worked with the county council, because I think they had some similar, process of redistricting, and people had to move districts and have some interim election cycles. Maybe we could just refer to what happened there.
And show-
To help clarify for
Yeah,
ourselves.
and show
Yeah, and I
that
think
timing.
our intent, Commissioner, was primarily to focus on the redistricting schedule tonight. If indeed the initiative passes, then we will provide much more in-depth information about how this drawing of lots and the works. And I like your suggestion about looking at how they did it with the county council. So,
Thank you.
So now I'm elected by myself. When I run, there's only one seat running here. These guys run at the same time. What's the framework gonna look like if we take 2 more commissioners?
Yeah, I think Holly has that mapped out.
Right, so right now we've got positions, current incumbent 1 and 2 up for election, correct? And Commissioner Briscoe, you're District 3. So you would then run in 2027, right? That's your election. So in 2026, you would get numbers 4 and 5 coming online. Those are the 2 new commission positions. And as Mike said, the top vote getter has a 3-year term. So then that person, we're going to just call him 4 for the purposes of ease of tracking. Number 4 would then be up for election in 2029. And position number 5, they only get a 1-year term for that first term. So they'd be up for election again in 2027.
Same year I would.
Yeah, so then from that point onward, all of the commissioners are going to be on that 4-year odd number year cycle. So you're gonna, every year, you're gonna have either 2 or 3 commissioners, and it would be the same 2 positions and the same 3 positions that are up for election on those cycles going forward after the first shortened term.
Clear as mud?
That all you got, Michael? Yeah, clear as mud. That all you got?
Yeah, what I was missing was that he would stay, he's 1 now, he would stay in 1.
Correct.
I'm 2, I would stay in whatever the new 2 is, and he's 3, he would stay in the new 3. I just thought we got to pick 1. So I would continue to represent the people that I represent now and not the people he represents. Anyway, I'm done rambling.
We represent them all, so it
I
really
get
doesn't
it.
matter.
I'm just,
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, now can I?
I'm suffering from a lack of sunlight.
It's okay. Into the public meeting comment. Anyone in the audience wish to speak? Everybody don't run at once here. Okay. Please state your name and your address, please.
Ahoy. Captain Ryan, Legato Maritime. My office is at 355 Harris. With all of that discussion, I'd like to talk about something a little more relaxed. So to that end, Legato Maritime, and part of the Maritime Career Task Force law, we now have the backing of the Washington State Ferry System. And to that end, we'll be propagating our curriculum across Washington State with the home port of Bellingham. And in support of that, as talked about previously, we partnered with Beach Cat Brewing down there as a release of our Fire Cat Red Lager, with 100% of proceeds going to support that. So on November 15th, we're doing a good old-fashioned sailboat christening of one of our outreach boats. We'll have it right there on the dock. Everybody's welcome to come on down. All ages. We'll have some gluten-free cookies from Millet Gluten-Free Bakery. So that's just local politics today. Thank you.
Can you get that information to staff here so we can?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm already slowly propagating partners. I started with the tradesmen because it's
Okay.
dropped it off at the police department, you know, because, yeah.
Who would you like him to get that information to?
Tracy's got it.
To Tracy?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Please. Usually nobody jumps up. Everybody was jumping.
Hello, my name's Karen Lund, and I've been to a couple of meetings. So today I wanted to talk about the community. And as I'm part of the community, I was born here in Bellingham in 1971, so I've seen a lot. And what I wanted to bring up to all of you is that the public has voted on, or the public has approved and wanted something, because there was public input. It was called the Waterfront Futures Plan. That was something that we were all excited about in the community. I was looking forward to it. And then in 2019, you all changed it, and it became the Waterfront District Subplan. Before, it was community-centric. Community-centric. Now it seems to be economic-centric pretty much only. That's the primary thing. I understand that that's important, but we're the community, and we're the ones that drive everything around here. And so what I'd like you to do is I'd really like you to visit the Waterfront Futures Plan again, since you need a vision. That will help you with your vision. If you need to know where there's information for that, it's at the public library. There's an actual booklet. And it has all of it in there because people took a long time figuring out what to do. And the vision is so far from that, it's sad and it's disappointing and it makes me angry. And I need you to re-center yourself and do that vision because that's what we all wanted in the community. So I'm here and I'll keep going to these meetings to make sure that you're thinking about that. So every time you see me, I'll be smiling at you, but every time you see me, you're gonna think about that. Oh yeah, maybe I should look at those documents because they're at the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Carla?
It feels like I should say something, right?
Okay, you gotta say who you are to start with.
Carly James, Columbia Neighborhood, Bellingham. We're winding up this very important process this evening. And I think what I just want to make sure we remember, regardless of how tonight works itself out, is that you have a community eager to connect with you, and you have a community that is rooting for you to make the best possible choices for us on our behalf, for our public lands, for our public resources. So I've been coming to these meetings pretty regularly since when? April. It's not easy to make time to be here, especially work nights. So I would just throw out there, because this has come up a few times on the campaign trail, other ways for us to connect with you outside of this venue and this time and space. I would love to see some opportunities to connect, like a town hall, once, twice, 3 times a year. It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment, but where it feels like our input and you listening to us is the priority of the meeting. We're not just bookending the important work that you're doing, but that there's time for you to actually listen and maybe connect a little bit, because this isn't for everybody. This can be intimidating to come down here and stand here and you're staring back at us and not really getting. It's not a two-way, you're just hearing me. And we want to hear from you. We want to know what the plans are, what the vision is, what the work is, how complex this is, why it doesn't make sense to us. So I just want to put that out there, that if I can't come back here and remind you to do this, again, I'm just telling you right now that it would mean a lot. It would go a long way for the community to create that dialogue outside of this, and maybe moving to different spots around the county, because we're far away. I mean, people live, 30 minutes, 45 minutes away. It's hard to get down here. So if there's a way to take this on the road, connect with us out on our turf, I think that would be really valuable for all of us.
I would respond that we did a few years ago. We went to Linden, we went to Blaine, we've gone to different places, and the chairs are all empty. That's why we're back here. People just don't turn out. I know we've tried to do that. It isn't like we have not tried it. We have tried it.
Just so you know, I'm not saying that you haven't tried.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
You know what, you're leaders, you know what it takes to motivate.
No. Okay, is there anyone else?
To that end, I just have to say that I've officially closed on property today, and I'm happy to be here in Port of Bellingham. But that said, I have individually, to speak to previously to Carly, I have reached out to each of y'all individually and via your cell phones, and y'all always pick up, and you will arrange a meeting outside of my hours. Lord knows I have some pretty crazy ship hours, and you do make yourselves available and to meet to that. But to leave it something light, I forgot the most important part. Legato will be giving away several hundred free gluten-free cookies. So please come down. Thank you. Because snacks matter.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? We have anybody online? Okay, we're going to move on to other business.
Come to me last.
come to you last? It's going to be lengthy?
No, just emotional.
Okay. Commissioner Shepherd?
Well, you can start with me first because I don't have any other business tonight.
Oh, okay. I guess the only other business I have is I'd like to address the rates on the sawtooths because that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I know I've done a lot of big boat projects in this harbor and other places over the years, so I was caught a little unawares. Maybe I missed something that we were doing that. And I don't necessarily get to my emails all the time, as you know. So I would like to have a discussion,
Yeah.
Aaron and yourself, about what we're doing there.
Yeah,
Before we
Commissioner-
do this.
Yeah, I think it's very timely. We obviously will be coming to commission for rate approvals, so we haven't changed those to my knowledge yet, but we'll be having the discussion. Is that, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I would like to disagree. I was told November 1st was
We haven't,
when my rates would be escalated.
okay, so we'll check in and
All right,
get to
all
the
right.
dates.
We need to clarify things. And to what Carly said, you know, sometimes it's hard to get around to other places, you know. All of us work as well, so our time constraints, you know, are sometimes difficult. And we're public servants and we try to do the best we can. To what you spoke to, yeah, I know about that. And in 2019, I was sitting here when we changed things. I think there was a lot of things that changed, that brought that change about, and most of it was business with Harcourt at the time. But please understand that I can't speak for my fellow commissioners, but I'm not sitting here wanting to do something the public doesn't want to do. That's not me and never has been me. Things change, you get caught up in things, you move along, and the world changes, as we all know, and it's been pretty rapidly as of late. But we're all, at least I can speak this part, I know from it, we all have the intention of doing what's right for the public and nothing different. So.
We just have to show it then. It has to be transparent.
And sometimes that's hard to do when you're caught up in your family life, your business life, and trying to do this at the same time. It's a pretty full page, believe me. And I'm not complaining. I agreed to take the job on, and I understand what you're saying is we can do a better job, and I'm not saying we can't. We will try and do a better job of communicating. I thought we'd been kind of moving up the ladder and improving with meetings, but apparently we need to do better. So. That's all I have, Commissioner Bell. Well, I do have one other thing. I would like to say to staff, you know, always before an election, it's pretty hard on our staff because they never know what's coming, and it's stressful. Because as the commission changes, things can change overnight. They could have worked on something for 6 months, and then a new commission comes along and changes direction, and all that hard work that they did and things they've done goes by the wayside. I would like to commend our staff. This has been a very tough year internally for the Port of Bellingham. We've had some major changes, you know, within our staff and economically and trying to keep up with things that are moving very fast. And I'd like to commend them on the job they've done, each and every one of them. From janitor on up, everybody has done a tremendous job this year at the Port of Bellingham at keeping shit glued together when it was coming apart and doing the right thing for the people in Whatcom County and trying to keep things moving forward. So thank you to our staff. That's all I have.
I have one piece of other business, if I could, Commissioner. Thank you for that.
Go ahead.
Is that okay? So I just want to get a little bit of clarification before the November 18th meeting. It's my understanding that we would like to discuss the delegation of powers, the 1106, and also discuss the executive director recruitment job description. I just want to clarify on a potential useful and helpful format for that meeting. I think going through the entire 14-page document might not be the most efficient way to get that done. So if we could come forward with areas of concern so that we can be prepared to speak to those directly, that might be helpful, but looking for your input to see how we structure that in a useful way.
Well, I would
For the
agree. I don't want to go
1106.
through 14 pages of document. So if we could put bullet points together, gentlemen, of what we need to focus on directly, so we can keep that as brief as possible and to the point, and get it done professionally, I'd like to do that. And I'll say up front, I don't have any bullet points.
Did you already provide us with a couple items that you thought were most relevant to address?
I did. So items that maybe were of concern earlier in the year of kind of how process worked. But those are not all inclusive. If there are other areas of the document the commission is uncomfortable with, happy to discuss those as well. But to identify those so that we can do some preparation to be able to discuss them at the next meeting. And then the intention at the next meeting would be to have that discussion, take your input, get your feedback, get that into a document, a red line document, get it to legal, so that we make sure that we're covering all that, and then bring it forward for approval in January is a typical time that we would approve 1106.
So correct me if I'm incorrect here. What you're looking for is you're looking for information of the specifics from each commissioner of the area they want to address, so that we can have staff prepared to answer those questions, correct?
Yeah, and it was my understanding that the commission may want to have that discussion before the approving the job description for the executive director search.
Yeah, and that request came from me. This is the most important job we have. So even the 1106, it's on my list of other business. Thanks. I just want to make sure that we as a commission are doing the job that we're elected to do, and that is, as we look at that 1106, make sure that we have learned the lessons from the past, and we go through it with that lens. And then also, what is a policy decision versus what is an executive or what is an administrative function? And as we go through the 1106, have the lens on of being policymakers, to say, how does this particular portion of the 1106 delegation of authority, how are we giving away any of our responsibilities to the executive director when we do that? So I'm hoping that we can look at it through that lens, to make sure that we maintain the policy maker portion of that decision, but also on the job description portion of this, make sure it says what we want it to say, so that we get responses back that are commensurate with that document. I really think it's the one job we have, and we need to take that very seriously, and we need to talk about it, quite frankly. And so my hope is that we can do that. And then the time frame on the ED search would then be put back until January, given that time frame.
I think we would need to have a discussion. There's no requirement to approve the 1106 before we post the job. But I think in the way you're looking at it, you're looking for that. But is Riley still here? Yeah, the posting of the job is we're just waiting for your approval on the job description and the wage.
So let me ask you, Kim, why do you feel we need to do the 1106 before a job description post?
Well, there's just a lot that flows from it.
What bearing would it have on the job description, I guess is what I'm asking, because we can change that. Well, the director's sitting director is there, we can change that 1106, we can change it at any time. So we could discuss this and you know,
I think
it out or whatever, but we could change it after we hire another director.
I think it's fundamental to the job. So when you're hiring an executive director, you're telling them what authorities they have and don't have. And so as we go through the 1106, what we're going to be looking for are the skill sets that we've identified through that. So which areas do we want strength in? Which areas do we want weakness in? I think it'll help us refine that thought.
My point is,
I think we need to do it.
Come on, and we can go and change the 1106.
That would be like pulling the rug out from underneath. If I had to look,
I'm just saying.
it's basically their job. That's one. And the second part of this is that we have a very linear executive director to director status, and we've had discussion around maybe that flow chart doesn't flow correctly. So I'd like to have more discussions.
I think we had a communication problem.
Yeah, well, I think
Okay.
those are things.
That's what we had, but that doesn't mean that the executive director 1106 needs to be done before the job description.
I absolutely disagree.
Well, I disagree with you.
I think the
You
1106.
disagree or agree or don't care.
I'm ready to move forward with the job description, so.
That's where I'm
With the
at. I mean,
posting?
We
Yeah.
still need to do the 1106, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we need to hold up the job description to do that.
I think it'll help us frame our thought process.
So we can discuss that at the next meeting. That'll tell us right there.
So we can bring the job description forward as an action item, and you can have this discussion and vote on it.
I don't mean to
That's
be
one option.
cantankerous, but, okay.
So we will bring it forward as an action, or we'll propose it to the president to put on the agenda as an action
Job
item.
description.
Yep. And,
We can
and,
sit when we can have the 1106 discussion.
and have the 1106 discussion as well.
Steve, have you been to MAC?
Sorry.
Have you been to the MAC Marine Advisory Committee to have your discussion with them?
No, this is my first one.
No, the Marine Advisory Committee is one that I would suggest that you be heavily involved in, just because you've got a lot to add. And it's a committee that discusses things like mortgage rates. So I would love to see your participation on that group. So that would be that discussion. And then last but not least, it's all gonna come. I just want to say to Carly, thank you. In a county of 230,000 people, you have 100,000 people that complain, and you have one of that 100,000 people who actually steps up to do something about it. And you were very brave, you were very courageous, and you actually took a step that most people don't. And you took the chance and you took the time to run. There is so much credit to the person in the arena. And you stepped into the arena, and I just wanted to say thank you. We will know the fate of both of us shortly. But I just wanted to say that the port isn't going to be in great hands either way this goes, I believe. And I just wanted to say thank you for your participation in conducting a campaign that was above board and honorable. So thank you for your participation. Thank you for stepping up. I wish more would. Thank you.
Good.
And I'm done.
Anything else?
Just to wrap up for the 1106, so let's plan to discuss the items that you had already proposed for discussion, and then if there are additional items that we want to discuss, we should connect with you so
Yep.
you know in advance.
Yep,
Is that an open invitation for me?
yes.
Well, I think what she's asking for is specific points, so we don't have to go through the whole thing.
I'm in agreement with that. I just
Okay.
think they need to be resolved before we go out.
And then that's
That's
fine.
fine.
I don't think we have
Let's just
that many
tip,
specific
let's
points
just
that
tip
need to be
Tiffany
resolved.
off first.
Yeah.
With them, so.
Yeah, send them my way, and we'll have the discussion at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay, so we've got all our other business done, that's it? One last chance, anybody in the audience wants to step up and say anything? You can't throw vegetables, but we'll take comments and what have you. Okay. Meeting adjourned.